Hello, friends. Welcome to Book Page 2 Brain. Today, we are going to talk about Strategic Mindset by Thibaut Meurisse book. Prakash is a 32-year-old man who has always been confused about his life. He works in a mid-sized company, and every month when he gets his salary, he just thinks about what he is doing in his life. A few years ago, he had big dreams of a good job, his own house, and everything that is needed for a perfect life. But now days are spent in office work and weekend binge watching. One day, while returning from office, sitting in the metro, Prakash thought that he needed to change something in his life. He called his friend Arun, who always advised him to read and learn something new. Arun suggested a book, Strategic Mindset, a 7-day plan to identify what is important and to create a strategy that works by Thibaut Meurisse. Prakash immediately downloaded the book on his phone. That night, he promised himself that no matter what, he will read this book. He will read the whole book. The next morning, he set his alarm early and started the day with the first chapter of the book. The first lesson was the importance of long-term goals. Prakash found this a heavy topic, but as he started reading, he started realizing that perhaps this is the missing piece of his life. It was written in the book that if you do not have any long-term goals in your life, then you remain entangled in your small decisions. Prakash suddenly remembered all those moments when he had not made his goals clear. Sometimes he did not plan his savings, and sometimes he did not focus on his career growth. While reading the book, his realization has always been on immediate needs like shopping after getting salary or hanging out with friends on weekends. But planning for long-term goals never came to his mind. The book gave him an analogy. Think of your life as a ship without a clear destination. The winds and currents will take you wherever they want. But if you have a clear goal, you can steer the ship according to. Prakash felt that his life was also like a ship adrift. He asked himself, what is my ultimate goal? But the answer was not clear. It was written in the book that it is important to set long-term goals because they shape your everyday decisions. If your goal is clear, you can avoid destruction. Prakash immediately picked up his notebook and tried to write down some of his big dreams. First, he wrote a generic goal. I want to be successful. But as soon as he read it, he felt that it was too weak. The book said that goals should be specific and measurable. While working on it, he wrote, in 5 years, I want to reach a senior position in my field. This goal seemed solid and good to him. Then he wrote goals for his personal life, like paying attention to his health and buying a house. The book taught him another thing, to reflect on his goals regularly. Meurisse had written that it is not enough to just write down the goals and leave them. It is important to review them from time to time so that you can see whether you are on the right track or not. Prakash realized this. He found it very practical. He set a weekly reminder on his phone, review your goals. He remembered a quote from a book, your goals should scare you a little and excite you a lot. Prakash found this line very inspiring. He thought if my goals aren't challenging me, then maybe they're goals worth achieving. Music. He decided that he would spend at least 30 minutes every day working towards his goals, whether it's learning something new, developing a skill, or simply improving his health. He downloaded an app where he could track his daily progress. That day in the office, he felt something strange. It seemed as if he had now learned to look at his life from a new lens. He started paying more attention to his work than before because he knew that this was part of his long-term strategy. He also noticed his colleagues. Some people were working only for their salary, while some people were passionate about their career growth. Prakash understood which path he had to choose. When he returned home in the evening, he started reading the book again. That day, he had only finished the first lesson, but that lesson had changed his thinking. He realized that if he wanted to bring about a big change in his life, he would have to take small but consistent steps. Before going to sleep at night, he read his goals again and promised himself that no matter how difficult it is, he will try his best to make his life better. In the morning, Prakash woke up to the sound of his alarm and opened the book. He thought that like yesterday, today too, he would get to learn something new. The first chapter had completely changed his thinking. Now he was genuinely excited to bring focus and clarity in his life. Today's lesson was effective over efficiency. He started reading and slowly got immersed in each line. Music. If you like our free summaries, you can subscribe to our channel, buy our membership, or support us through UPI. Now let's go back to the summary. At the beginning of the book, Meurisse asked a question. Are you doing the right things or just doing things right? This question made Prakash thought about this and asked himself whether he was doing his day's work in the right way, or was the work he was doing even right? Prakash carefully read what Meurisse wanted to explain. It was written in the book that efficiency means doing a task in the right way in less time and with more productivity, but being effective means doing such tasks that are aligned with your priority and goal. In a way, being effective means choosing the right things. Prakash found this to be very practical. He recalled his work of the last few days. He was always postponing getting up in the morning and going to the gym, but in the office, he was always efficient in replying to emails as quickly as possible. He thought that he was wasting his energy on such things which may not be his priority. Replying to emails is important, but is it helping him achieve his long-term goals? An interesting example was given in the book that if someone climbs a ladder very efficiently, but that ladder is placed against the wrong wall, then his hard work would be useless. It is useless. Prakash found this example to be completely appropriate for himself. He realized that his efficiency was only going towards completing small, everyday tasks, while he should have been working on his bigger goals. That day he made an activity plan for himself. He made a list of his tasks for the day. Then he categorized all those tasks as important, urgent, and nothing else. He noticed that most of his tasks for the day came under the category of urgent, but very few were important. That is, those that really matter in his life. There was a suggestion in the book: learn to say no to things that don't align with your goals. Prakash remembered that in office, he often used to leave his work to help his colleague or sit in meetings that had nothing to do with him. He decided that now he will focus on his priorities. That day in office, he tried to apply this lesson practically. As soon as a colleague asked him for help, he politely refused. This was a new thing for him, because he was always busy in fulfilling the expectations of others, but today he focused on his work. Coming home in the evening, he took out his notebook. He analyzed his work of the day. He felt that he has taken a step towards becoming effective instead of being efficient. He thought that this is just the beginning. He will have to develop the habit of working according to his priorities and goals. There was one more thing written in the book which Prakash liked very much. Business is not a badge of honor. It is often a sign of poor priority. He realized that he often used to tell his friends that I am very busy, but now he understood that being busy is not a good thing if you are not working on the right things. That night, he planned a new system to increase his productivity. He decided that every morning he would write down the 3 most important tasks of the day. He would complete those 3 tasks first, even if the rest of the work is done later. He named it his top 3 priorities. The next morning, Prakash followed this plan. He wrote, read a book for self-learning for 1 hour each, working on the strategy of presentation, 3 30-minute walk for fitness. Initially, he found it a bit challenging. Old habits were coming in the way, like checking emails or wasting time on social media, but he kept himself disciplined. At the end of the day, when he completed his priority, he felt satisfied from within that he was not just working, but doing the right thing. There was another interesting concept in the book, Pareto Principle, which is also known as 80-20 rule. It was told that 80% of your achievements are from your 20% effort and 20% from activities. Prakash thought of applying this concept in his life. He wrote which 20% tasks will give him 80% of his success. He found that self-learning, networking, and paying attention to health are the biggest factors of his script. In the next few days, Prakash noticed that his mindset started changing. Now, before doing any work, he asks himself whether this is for me or not. It is important for goals. If the answer was not there, he would either leave that work or postpone it for a while. He also reduced social media usage and tried to invest that time in self-improvement. One day, his friend Arun came to meet him. Arun noticed the change in Prakash. He asked, "How did you become so organized and focused?" Prakash smiled and told him the name of the book and said, "Friend, I have just learnt that doing the right thing is more important than being busy," Arun said laughingly. "It seems now you are really going to do something big in life?" Prakash nodded and said, "Absolutely, but this journey has just begun. I have a lot more to learn." At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, "Effective is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Today, I feel like I'm finally on the right track." The next morning, Prakash woke up to the sound of the alarm and was doing some Energizer. He had understood that every lesson of the book is giving him new clarity in his life. He said to himself, "Let's see what we get to learn today." He quickly finished his tea. Prakash made a book and opened it. Today's lesson was incremental growth. As soon as Prakash started reading, he noticed a line. Small, consistent steps don't look like much in the moment, but over time, they create extraordinary results. On hearing this, Prakash remembered his old habits. He always used to set big goals like losing 10 kilos in a month or learning a new language in 3 months, but after working with motivation for a few days, he used to give up. In the book, he wrote that the last-minute student was always average. Prakash felt that this lesson applies to every aspect of his life. He asked himself, "Am I overthinking myself because of big goals? Am I underestimating small steps?" The answer was very clear, yes. Another powerful concept was given in the book, the power of 1% improvement. Meurisse had said that if you improve just 1% in any of your skills or habits every day, then in a year you can become 37 times better at that thing. On hearing this, Prakash felt that he always thinks of long jumps, whereas real success lies in taking small steps. He thought how to apply it in his life. He took out his notebook and wrote down the areas where he wanted to improve. He found that the most improvement was needed in his fitness, career skills, and time management. But this time he decided that he would not make unrealistic goals. He would focus on small, actionable steps. For fitness, he planned to walk for just 15 minutes every day. Earlier, he used to think of joining a gym and working out for 2 hours, but now he understood that sustainable habits are more important. He told himself that if I can walk for 15 minutes every day, then gradually I will be able to increase it to 30 minutes. For career skills, he planned to do self-learning for 20 minutes every day. He had already started the habit of reading books, so he thought of making it more consistent. He also searched for some free courses on LinkedIn that were relevant to his career. For time management, he thought of trying the Pomodoro technique. In the morning, one has to work with focus for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. Prakash realized that his productive activity often gets reduced due to distractions. This technique could help him stay focused. That day in the office, Prakash did a practical test of incremental growth for the first time. He thought that he would do his most boring task of organizing an old report in a 25-minute session. He set a timer and focused only on that task. As soon as the timer ended, he was surprised that the work which he had been postponing for many days was now more than half finished. Coming home in the evening, he started his walking routine. He put on headphones and took a 15-minute walk with his favorite songs. He knew that this was not a big achievement, but he felt satisfied that he had started. He told himself 15 minutes today, 20 tomorrow, and then gradually an hour. There was another thing written in the book which forced Prakash to think deeply. Meurisse had written, "Don't wait for motivation, focus on consistency." Prakash realized that he often waited for inspiration to start things, but now he realized that motivation can come and go. Consistency is the key to real motivation. Over the next few days, Prakash incorporated his philosophy of incremental growth into his habits. He would read 2 pages of a book as soon as he woke up in the morning, work on Pomodoro sessions in the office, and walk for 15 to 20 minutes in the evening. He realized that he was feeling a little better every day. One day, he thought, why not apply this philosophy to his finances as well? He analyzed his monthly expenses and made a simple rule that he would save 10% of his salary every month. Earlier, he thought that big savings could happen only when his salary increased. But now he realized that even small savings can make a big difference in the long run. He opened a separate savings account and automated that 10% of his salary would be transferred into it every month. Prakash gradually learnt the power of this incremental growth. He started feeling that he had noticed that his stress level was coming down because he did not have unrealistic expectations anymore. He had understood that success is a marathon, not a sprint. One weekend, when Prakash met his friend Arun, he told him about his progress. Arun listened to him and said, "You are going very well, but have you ever felt that small steps can sometimes seem boring?" Prakash replied, "Yes, of course, but now I have understood that discipline is not always exciting. Gradually, results start appearing, and that gives motivation." Arun said with a smile, "So now you can take a big leap." "No, I still have big dreams, but the way to achieve them has changed. Now I consider small steps as important as the destination." At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, "Small steps are not that significant. They are the foundation of great achievements. Today I took 15 minutes, read 5 pages, and completed 1 productive Pomodoro session. All this may seem small, but I know that this is making my future better." Prakash had started making many small changes in his life till now. He felt that the concept of incremental growth was making his life better. But when he read the next lesson of the book, Managing Energy Cycles, he felt that this could perhaps be the most practical and impactful lesson till date. Prakash started reading the book while drinking morning tea. The very first line of this lesson was, "It's not about managing time, it's about managing energy." Prakash found this a bit confusing. He had always heard that time management is the biggest secret of productivity. But Meurisse was saying something else. He continued reading. It was mentioned in the book that the energy levels of every person fluctuate throughout the day. Some are more energetic in the morning, while others are more energetic at night. Meurisse had said that the real secret of productivity is to identify your peak energy hours and use them for the most challenging tasks. In the rest of the low energy hours, do such tasks that do not require much brain. Prakash thought, "Friend, this is absolutely correct. The thing is, I often tackle the most difficult tasks when my brain is tired, and then that task takes more time." He immediately took out his notebook and asked himself questions. 1. Which hours of my day are the most productive? 2nd, when do I feel most tired? 3rd, am I using my high-energy time correctly? He looked at his daily routine. He remembered that morning time is the best for him. After drinking tea, he felt refreshed, and then his brain worked the fastest. But often he was caught up in emails and small tasks at that time. On the other hand, after noon, his energy level started falling, but then he tried to work on his most challenging tasks. In the book, Reese suggested that to manage your energy, first you have to track your energy cycles. Prakash decided to try it for the next few days. He started noting his energy level every hour of the day. He created a simple scale: low, medium, and high. After tracking for a few days, Prakash saw patterns from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. His energy level was high. It became low between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. It again became medium after 6 p.m. Seeing this pattern, he felt that now he can organize his tasks better. He thought that he will do challenging tasks like making presentations or strategic planning in the morning, while repetitive tasks like answering emails will be done in the afternoon. The next day, Prakash implemented his new strategy. As soon as he woke up in the morning, he made a list of his most important tasks. His first task was to prepare client presentation for the next week. He started working on it as soon as he had tea. Earlier, he used to do this work in the afternoon, but now he shifted it to his high-energy time. Prakash felt a big difference. The difficult tasks which he used to find difficult earlier now seemed surprisingly easy. He was able to work faster and with more focus. His presentation draft was ready in 2 hours. He said to himself, "Man, this energy management is really an amazing thing." In the afternoon, when his energy level was low, he only completed emails and small tasks. He worked on admin tasks. He noticed that these tasks got done easily, even with low energy. He felt that he had used his time and energy properly. In the evening, when his energy level was medium, he worked on his self-learning. He read the next few pages of a book and researched a new skill. At the end of the day, he felt satisfied. Music. Prakash realized that he often put too much pressure on himself. He used to think that the secret to success was to be productive all the time. But now he realized that breaks and recovery are equally important. He decided to include breaks in his routine. He made some tweaks to the Pomodoro technique. Music. In these breaks, he would drink water, go for a walk, or just close his eyes and rest. Within a few days, Prakash noticed that his efficiency had increased. He could do as much work as before. Arun said laughingly, "You have become a productivity guru now." Prakash replied, "Yar, all this seems so easy, but I never paid attention to it before. I just kept working." Without thinking how important it is to do the right thing at the right time, Arun asked, "Do you remain relaxed all the time now?" Prakash smiled and said, "No, friend, there is still pressure of work, but now I work smartly. I do the most difficult tasks when my energy is high, and when my energy is low, I do not push myself unnecessarily." At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, "Today I realized that energy management is more important than time management. By aligning my tasks with my energy levels, I became more productive and less stressed. This is a game changer." This new habit of Prakash had now become a part of his life. He learned that energy management is important not just for work, but for everything, be it fitness, relationships, or self-growth. The next morning, Prakash sat with his routine tea and smiled as soon as he opened a new chapter of the book. Today's topic was cultivating a strategic mindset. He thought, "This seems to be the essence of all the learning so far. If I get hold of this, then perhaps my life will reach a completely new level." The first line of the book itself caught Prakash's attention. A strategic mindset is not just about solving problems. It is about asking the right questions, which are essential for gaining deeper insight. Prakash stopped and asked himself, "Do I ask the right questions in my life?" He immediately got the answer, maybe not. In the book, Meurisse explained that a strategic mindset means not looking at every situation superficially, but thinking deeply. This means understanding what the problem really is before finding a solution. Prakash felt that this applies to both his personal and professional life. A few years ago, Prakash was given a big project in the office. He started working with full enthusiasm, but the project failed at the last moment. At that time, he considered it bad luck. But now thinking about it, he realized that he had not actually asked the right questions. He never thought about what the client's real need was. He just kept working on surface-level details. The book further wrote that the first step to developing a strategic mindset is to ask better questions. Meurisse suggested that every you must ask 3 questions for a problem. 1. Why does this problem exist? 2. What are the possible solutions? 3. What is the most effective solution with the least effort? Prakash immediately took out his notebook and started preparing for a meeting to be held in the office today. He looked at the agenda of the meeting and applied all 3 questions. He felt that these questions gave him clarity, and he had already thought of some practical solutions. That day during the meeting, when the boss asked the team to solve the problem, Prakash shared his strategically prepared insights. Everyone was impressed by his answer. The boss said, Prakash, your perspective is very clear and practical. Prakash felt proud from within. He said to himself, Friend, this is the power of asking the right questions. There was another thing in the book which forced Prakash to think deeply. Meurisse had written, A strategic mindset thrives on creativity and collective intelligence. Prakash understood that instead of thinking only on your own, taking advantage of the opinions and skills of others is also a great strength. He wondered if he had always been trying to find solutions all by himself. The answer was yes. He decided to adopt a new habit at that very moment. He planned a brainstorming session in his team in which everyone gets a chance to express their opinion. He realized that the perspective of others can give him insights that he had never thought of. The next week, when Prakash started working on a project with his team, he saw that many different ideas are found in a team. A junior member gave an idea that was the most practical and cost-effective. Prakash felt that if he had taken the decision alone as per his old habit, then this brilliant idea might not have come up. In the book, Meurisse had also described creativity as an important part of strategic mindset. He had said that creativity is limited to art. It is the ability to look at problems from new angles and craft innovative solutions. Prakash started another exercise to implement it in his life. He started thinking of at least 3 different solutions to a problem every day. He started it. At first it seemed a bit difficult, but gradually he realized that his mind was becoming more flexible. One day when Prakash was stuck in the office with a tight deadline, he decided to test his creativity. He left his usual way and adopted a new and simplified way. The result was that his work was completed in half the time. He realized that creativity is not just an art, it is also a way to tackle work smartly. Prakash also read deeply that part of the book where Meurisse had written about collective thinking, that every person has his own unique perspective, and when these perspectives are combined, extraordinary results can be achieved. Prakash said to himself, Friend, this is the amazing power of teamwork. He started adopting this philosophy while working with his team. Now, in every meeting, he listens to others before giving his opinion. He saw that this gives him new insights, and his decision-making process has become more efficient than before. Prakash realized that strategic mindset is not just for work, but also for personal life. It is also important for life. He asked himself, Am I clear about my goals? 2. Am I analyzing my decisions correctly? 3. Am I using my creativity and the intelligence of others correctly? He realized that developing a strategic mindset is an ongoing process. It is not a skill that can be learned once, but it has to be refined every day. At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, Today I learned that a strategic mindset is about clarity, creativity, and collaboration. It's not just about solving problems. It's about transforming challenges into opportunity. This is a mindset I want to cultivate. Prakash's life had now completely changed. He not only understood every lesson of the book Strategic Mindset, but also adopted it in his daily life. He read a few pages of the book every morning with tea and thought about how he could apply it in his life. He saw that these small changes increased his productivity, way of thinking, and overall satisfaction. How much better Prakash has made his career. Now, Prakash is no longer a person who only runs after success. He used to think at every step, is this step right for my long-term goals? He had learned to connect his daily work with his big purpose. Now he used to work according to his energy cycles. He used to save his low-energy time for light tasks and high-energy time for the most difficult and creative tasks. Prakash's biggest victory was that he brought strategic mindset not only in his professional life, but also in his personal life. He realized that this way of thinking is as important for his relationships, health, and his own growth as it is for his career. One day in the office, his team gave him a complex. Earlier, Prakash used to feel this work as a burden, but this time he analyzed every situation by staying calm. He asked the right questions along with the team. He listened to every perspective and prepared a solution with creativity that everyone found practical and effective. The project was not only completed on time, but he also got a lot of praise from the client. Prakash's boss said during the meeting, "Prakash, the clarity and strategy in the way you work is amazing. The way Prakash looks at himself is commendable." Hearing this, Prakash thought to himself that this change is not just the result of his hard work, but because of this book and its lessons, which changed his way of thinking. In personal life also, Prakash's relationships had become better than before. Now he looked at every problem as a challenge and adopted creative ways to solve it. He started having more meaningful conversations with his friends and family. He had gained clarity about his priorities. At night, when Prakash was reading the last page of the book, he realized that it was not just a book, but a guidebook for him. He closed the book and wrote in his notebook, "This is the end. It is the beginning of a new way of living. Strategic thinking is just a skill. It is a lifestyle. Thank you, Reese, for showing me how to live better, work smarter, and dream bigger." Prakash promised himself that he would always keep this mindset with him. He did not keep his book in the cupboard, but kept it on his desk so that whenever he needed clarity, he could read it. That night, Prakash smiled before going to sleep. He felt that he has now become a person who is not just surviving his life, but is thriving. And this was the real victory. So friends, this was our book summary for today. Do let us know by commenting how you liked it, and thank you for listening to the summary till the end. Music. Music.